welcome back. So definitely a lot happening, and yes, those are some of the issues we'll highlight this morning. We've got two gentlemen here with us. Adamu Garba is the former Deputy Director of Media for the APC Independence Campaign Council. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
And sitting beside him, Honorable Sergius Ogun, who is a member of the Constitution Review Committee, former Chairman House Committee on FCT, and member Committee on Petroleum Downstream. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today. Which one is still up here? I mean, you were in all of these committees.
I was the deputy chairman
For which one?
of FCT.
Deputy chairman of FCT.
Yes.
Okay. So, but you remember Committee on Petroleum Downstream.
Yes, I remember.
So
downstream, upstream.
Downstream, upstream, all
of them, all the
streams. So, and rightly, there's a lot of expectations this week in that sector in terms of concerning the launch of Dangote Refinery. So many looking forward to. There's so many questions. On paper, they see good things, they read good things, but waiting to see how all of this will be implemented. So from your perspective, having been there, you interacted with several players in that sector, you know about the concerns raised by several people and expectations of this refinery when it's launched today. So what should we expect? What kind of impact is this going to have now concerning all of those challenges we have in this country about petroleum products?
Well, the Dangote Refinery will not solve all our downstream problems. Our fuel supply won't solve it. And I appreciate what is happening. It will help, but there are doubts. I don't know if you've been to that plant. If you go to a typical plant like his one gigantic structure, and to run a plant like that, to commission it, which means it's been tested, and it takes a while to test a plant like that, to get it running before you commission it for production, which means you would have been producing for months. And that's not the case in this refinery today. So I want to see the positives and not the negatives. So I just want to be sure that this is not politics, that the president is going to cut the tape because he's leaving office next week. But I think I see more of that than the actual. Because really, if he's commissioning it today, and which means they would have started production, the NNPC Limited should be able to tell us that in the last 3 months, we have received XY amount of petrol or diesel from this refinery. That's how plants are operated and commissioned. So I see a lot of political undertone in what is happening today. But in any case, it will be a good thing for this country to get the Dangote Refinery running. On paper, the refinery will start running maybe, they said, third quarter. But I think it's going to be more like fourth quarter or even early next year.
Okay, so while I can appreciate your cautious optimism, what I think a lot of people will be interested in is because we all know that even if it starts running, or even if it had been running, because we also see from the pictures that our correspondent was able to send to us, using drone shots, etc., we saw that the gas was being fired. Gas was being burned. So it showed that there was some sign of activity already ongoing at the plant. So perhaps, maybe they have actually started and they haven't just made it as clear as possible. I imagine that today we would know in full detail during the fine speeches that will be given, just what to expect. But let's even say that it is in the fourth quarter that this eventually all, goes full steam, because 650,000 barrels, that is a lot for one refinery to consume every day. What are your expectations from that refinery for the Nigerian upstream and downstream sector in the country?
Yeah, my expectations will be at least we will save a lot of money from importation of petroleum products. But again, cautious optimism. Let me just add that because it's a plant, we will not get 650,000 barrels a day from day one.
Oh, yes, certainly.
It will have to start before it becomes to, okay. So it will be a very good thing. Even if they start with 100, 200, it will mean we will be augmenting what they are producing from our importation. That would be a good thing. And And most of us are excited and looking forward to that. Like people say, well, you're not going to save too much money from it because it's actually the price of crude oil that determines the refined product. Yeah, but for a layman, even the shipping, even those vessels betting on the high sea, and you are paying dollars to move back and forth, some of that will go. So we also pray that there will be some honesty on the part of the businessman that has invested so much and on the part of NNPC to make sure that there's transparency and there are no hidden charges that will come back to the ordinary man. If we do that, it should ease the supply, one, and secondly, bring down the cost of importation and the cost of dispensing it at the pump to the ordinary Nigerian.
Mr. Gaba, what do you expect?
Yes, to be very candid with you, I'm going to take a more optimistic approach to this, because if you look at the impact that this is going to have on Nigerian economy, we are saving almost $10 billion per annum. That's 40% of Nigerian savings. It's clear, it's stated. In fact, CBN published this. We are creating direct job almost 22,000 and a combined indirect job of about 178,000. So when you look at this, this is a huge economic activity. And if you go back even to statistics that was published by OPEC in 2020, we exported about $25 billion worth of petroleum product, that's crude oil, and we ended up importing nearly $75 billion into this country. When you look at the value chain of petroleum product that we import, nearly losing 45 or 43 point something billion dollars. So these are the kind of value that we expect to save for Nigeria when we have this refining capacity taking place in our own market. So to the best of my knowledge, since we have readiness for commissioning this, I think we should be able to welcome a huge opportunity for Nigeria. This is like the largest refinery project in the whole world. It's been certified. And every other thing associated with this refinery have to do with the benefit of Nigeria. We should not forget the fact that the fallout of us pushing our crude oil out and then refining it to import was from an SAP program that started during the military era. So it takes a journey of our democracy from 1999 to now to have a compliant National Assembly that work together with the presidency to sign the PIA to enable this opportunity. So when you look at this, you will see clearly that I think Nigeria should celebrate this. All Nigerians should stand up and celebrate the opportunity that comes to our shore.
Well, yes, in terms of when it finally comes on stream, but realistically, because he's talking about what to expect realistically. So if this is commissioned now, the layman, lots of people will expect that we're supposed to hit the ground running. But I think what he's saying is that, well, not immediately, that they have to be cautious, because if you raise so much expectation, now that people are talking about fuel subsidy to be or not to be, many will say, but wait a minute, you people have commissioned this, why are we still arguing about all of this? And so isn't this government supposed to factor all of that in, or perhaps even Tinubu's government when he does come in after this commission? And so I think that is the point he is making. Do you appreciate that?
I appreciate what he said, and the fact that he's even in the committee of the downstream sector, perhaps he has a lot of information about this. But I want to also say that, it is a clear stand that the next administration is going to remove subsidy. It was made very clear on the statement of incoming president. He said very clear on many places that he's going to remove oil subsidy. So if removal of oil subsidy come live, we will need this kind of refinery to supplant it. And don't forget, the subsidy became a problem to Nigeria because of the excessive use of Forex. And the fact that we are going to remove the subsidy and still use Naira to transact internally with Dangote Refinery, I think is going to have a smooth sell. So yes, we can expect a plan to start now, and then we have the perfect production at full capacity, 450,000 barrels. But again, we have started something that is unimaginable in the history of Nigeria. We even have our own local refineries that refuse to work, simply because of the interest of international market that constantly work to make sure that we don't operate our refineries. Now that the market is freed, there is an enabling law that will drive this free market system.
So you're admitting that government failed in that regard?
Not really. Government tried their best, and that that government is not the very easiest partner in running private businesses. And I think the government took the best approach by privatizing NNPC and then also investing in Dangote Refinery and bringing in mainstream. This, to me, I think is a very good deal for Nigeria.
I saw you nodding.
I'm not, you see, we are making, he's a politician. So he's making...
Aren't you...
Exactly. An elected official saying...
Am I missing something? Yeah?
Pointing at somebody else.
Okay,
Four fingers pointing right back.
I say most times that I'm an accidental politician.
Oh.
Yeah, because I say it the way it is.
Accidental or not, politician is still ascribed to you.
Well, yes, in the sense that I'm a serving House of Representative member, because I had to go through elections. But with his postulations, very soon they will come back here. It's not enough to spin these things, because they're going to come back and spin it. And that is why Nigerians these days don't believe in government anymore. Just say it the way it is.
Why do you think they'll come back and spin it?
Yeah, because from what he's even saying, it's not realistic. I know, okay, I just told you earlier, if that refinery is producing, it should have been producing the last 6 months or 3 months to talk about the official commissioning today. So they should have been able to tell us this is the quantity that is already coming from Dangote Refinery, pre-commissioning. But that is not happening. And now today you are telling me that, okay, we are excited. Of course we should be excited that we have a local refinery that is functioning, you know. But we are not nearly there. We are not nearly there. So I'm not excited. And they will come back. That spinning, they will come back to this studio and spin it.
No. Let me say something. You see, you have nearly 18 countries that come together when you look at the kind of the combination of the engineering companies that form this refinery. And we don't expect this largest project to be at the verge of getting commissioned without passing through all the tests, checks and balances possible, without passing through the refining back and forth. We had a lot of information about this Dangote refinery. It's a huge information that if you Google, you will see what they have done extensively. So I believe all those things are being put in place, and I believe it's a very strong credit to the government of the APC.
It's not,
and I believe we'll continue to consolidate the successes.
The government of APC. The PDP government under Jonathan already granted concession of USD to Dangote. It didn't start under this administration. So maybe you don't want us to go into that. Dangote refinery didn't start 7 years ago or 8 years ago. All the approvals and everything started long before then.
The land was allocated by the APC government of Lagos State.